then probably you know me. If you attended last year and the year before, probably you know me better by then. So today I picked one of the topics, which is the new Dynamics AX projects. The reason that I picked this one, honestly, because I believe this is one of the areas that nobody is giving attention to, although it's one of the most comprehensive topics that an organization can look for. So whether you are into construction business, or whether you are in consultancy, or whether you are in media and entertainment, or even if you are running a project. So everything in your life today that you are running is a project. Getting married is a project. Okay, buying a car is a project. Buying a new house is a project. So ideally, we are living in a systematic way of how we look at projects. So I believe it's part of the important aspect that we need to focus on, especially that on the slides today in the session. I don't know if you noticed this or not. We were not mentioning projects anywhere. So I didn't want this topic to be left that we don't have a project or a service industry vertical within AX. Having said that, let us start first. So this is the agenda we have 30 minutes. So I will try to move as fast as I can, and probably I will spend more time on the product demo so that we can see more of the product. So what is our business priorities today? So business once had much control. So I can come and sit and tell my customers, you will do this and this and this. So I had the power, the upper hand. Today, it's not. I have to be flexible enough to listen to what my customers ask for. So whether today I'm doing a construction project or building a building, and after we agree everything, the customer comes and says, I want to change the designs, I want to change the lighting, I want to change the finishings. I have to be agile enough to come and tell him, yes, I can accommodate this. And I can accommodate this and do it considering the speed that I want to do my day-to-day business. So today, agility and business speed is very important to gain back the kind of control you want to have as a business owner. So what do we have? We have a lot of options. So today, a customer wants to be available with you in the course of the project that you're doing with him. So I need to know what is the kind of progress that you have done. Okay, I need to have this visibility all the time. More and above, the business is about delivering quality and experience. And that's why when we talk quality experience, it's not only about the deliverables, it's about the resources that I'm using internally as an organization, and how can I better leverage those resources to do my business and make me at the end of the day profitable and give the customer the experience that he's looking for. So how can we increase the speed of doing business? So I can improve it by improving the customer experience. Let us think that today you're doing a project and you have a kind of a portal where your customer can come and he see what is the progress that's happening on every stage of the project. Where are the bottlenecks? If there is any kind of delays, when are those delays? Okay, and so on. And in some instance, when we start thinking about technology and strategy, you can invoke new technologies and bring this to the picture. So imagine that you have like cameras on the site where you are capturing live pictures of the progress that's happening, and you're projecting this inside AX. So when the customer comes, he's seeing the live site, what's happening there in the live site, without physically going and visiting this site. So those are the kind of innovations that we are looking for. So let us look quickly on a video which is about one of the customers who implemented AX.
Microsoft AX is our business processes. It's the foundation that all work is done around, and it's extremely important that we embrace every feature it has.
New Dynamics AX is reimagined with productivity at its core focus.
Microsoft is really enabling us to have a more collaborative environment.
他社さんでもそういったことをやはり変化の早い業界ではぜひ導入を検討されてみるといいんじゃないかなと思います。
The data from AX, from CRM, and from external sources, even our own product data, that will bring new possibilities, new services to our customers.
AX is providing an end-to-end visibility of our processes from sales, opportunities, projects, throughout the whole manufacturing process.
I think what stands out most is navigation. It's easier to get to where you're trying to go.
It allows me to answer the customer's questions a lot faster.
私たち今回導入させていただいたダイナミクス AX は本当に経営者の悩みにすごく応えてくれるシステムだと思います。
Our focus to move to AX to the cloud was to minimize our local infrastructure and allow our people to focus on our customers. Microsoft Clouds allows us to focus on what we need to.
Azure 上に展開された Dynamics AX 導入することで我々は劇的にビジネスを変化させることができた。
I'm convinced that with the Microsoft solutions we brought in, we are able to much better compete. We wouldn't be this fast operating company as we can be today.
But I see more and more the synergy between the business that we are running every day and the developments that Microsoft is doing for us and the promise they do for us in the future.
AX is revolutionizing our relationship with our customers. It's empowering us with information on hand to answer questions at any time, anywhere.
I like it. I like this new world that's coming up the next decade.
So, with the new AX, we are moving from having an application that supports the business to application that becomes the core of an organization, where everybody, ideally within the organization, is working on AX one way or another. So this becomes our source of truth within the organization. And we have done it in a way that we are empowering business users to use the tool in multiple ways in the purpose of achieving what we call the customer experience that we are looking for. So whether this is in the project business, whether this is on the service industry, or whether this is on the project engineering and manufacturing, okay, it is the same way and the same kind of platform, leveraging all the three pillars that Microsoft is revolving around, which is reinventing productivity, how we are using the system, how users are accessing it, how users are executing business processes, especially when you have a project with multiple stakeholders and multiple teams and so on, and as well using the power of the cloud that I allow people on the site to start working on the system on any device at any time. So what are the business priorities? So first, we agreed about amazing customer experience. So it's all about serving the customer, and by customer experience is not what they see, but rather what they get from us as a value as an organization. The second part, which is the operations, how I intelligently manage my operations. How can I leverage tools like machine learning and IoT to tell me about my fleet? So if I'm shipping raw material or in the construction and I'm having trucks for ready mix that I'm shipping, or I'm planning to route those fleet to the site, I need to assess different things that you traditionally opted for. So earlier I wanted to have a route planning and a route optimization, but now I can go one step further, that I do kind of using IoT, I use kind of analysis, like I can analyze the behavior of the driver. So if this guy accelerates and then he stops suddenly, so this gives me an indication of how frequently I will have to do the maintenance for the cars. So I'm using the data that I'm capturing from different machines and labor to build intelligence on getting predictive analysis of possible ways of how I can reduce my cost and become more profitable. Those ideas are not available earlier. It was only made available with moving AX to the cloud. So we are leveraging the whole stack of platform from Microsoft. The second part, which is drive innovation. So all the time, things about how we can do things better. So today we are talking about systems of engagement. Okay? How can I engage better with my customer? How can I have one project and scale this project instead of being for $1 million to be 1.2, 1.5 and keep getting more revenue from my existing customer? It's by delivering superior kind of service. So a quick snapshot that I will not spend much time. Today there is a study that was done between your customers and yourself. So when I ask you how much you think your customers are satisfied about you, most of the CEOs and CIOs of the companies said 80%. My customers are satisfied. When we went and asked the customers of those customers how much you are satisfied about the services and deliverables that you're getting from the company, they said 7%. So ideally, there is a 73% gap between how you see things and how your customers see it. And today, as I keep saying, that it is much easier, okay, to generate more business from an existing customer rather than to generate business from a new customer. So it all depends about the service that you are delivering. The second part, which is some of the indicators, which is about 80% of the CIO said innovation is the key. Today, I'm using cloud computing, I'm using data, I'm using social listening to understand how my customers are talking about my service and my capabilities. And more importantly, which is growing the revenue is the priority. So I can grow revenue by selling more, or I can grow revenue by driving optimization. So to drive optimization, I need to have those kind of analysis and business insights using from the cloud computing to drive at the actual ways of how I can improve cost reductions. So a lot of technologies that we are leveraging today within the new AX, whether it's social listening, whether it's, let us say, mobility, IoT, online, and so on. So a lot of technology trends that we are bringing together in the same kind of service that we are offering. So let us start about the components. So if you will see here that we have moved projects to be part of the core components of the horizontal workloads. And this is because of the importance that every company, as I mentioned, is doing a project one way or another. When you are doing a renovation in the office, this is a project. When you are opening a new store, this is a project. When you are moving from one building to another, this is a project. When you are refurbishing the production lines, this is a project. So everywhere project is touching your life. So that's why we have moved it from being a separate industry to be among the core product functionality. So projects work hand in hand with a lot of areas within the system. So when you work on a project, you need to have what we call Salesforce automation, because it already starts by a stage of identifying a lead or an opportunity, and this opportunity becomes a lead, how you quote and estimate for different kind of projects depending on your industry, negotiations, collaboration between different teams to arrive at the kind of proposal that we will be shipping, and then disposing this proposal to the customer. When I do this, okay, there is a lot of dependency on human capital management. I need people. Those people are my tools and resources that I will use to deliver this project. Being it workers, being it consultants. So I need to understand what is my capacity, what kind of capability that I'm carrying inside the organization from a resource and expertise and certifications, and their availability as well. Because I might have a capacity issue and I cannot take more projects. So this can give me an insight as well that I can go higher or I can go subcontract. Then comes what we call the budget foundation. Everything that we do is triggered by a budget. So how much I'm going to sell, the selling price, what margin do I want to make, what is the buffer that I have, and then becomes the budget. So I have to execute this budget, this project based on a particular budget. So this budget could be for material, for labor, for expenses, or for any additional fees. And then comes the part about supplier relationship management, the full ecosystem of supply chain. To execute this project, I need to have raw material. When? At what cost? From which supplier? Locally, or I will import it? What are the requirements if I want to import it? By when do I need it to the project? What is the lead time of every vendor? What kind of agreements that I have with vendors? And let us say that I will execute the project. So I plan and execute the project. And once I execute the project, I need to support this kind of project by providing what we call a customer care. What kind of services that I'm providing to my customer throughout the phase of the implementation or the building of the building or the execution of the project, and after that as well. So let us move to the core part, which is finance. So all those kind of transactions that I'm doing throughout the project life cycle generates for me financial entries. Those financial entries could be the cost, could be the revenue that I am generating based on my billing, based on the milestones or percentage of completion, and how I will generate my financial statements. And at any point of time, I need to know, am I profitable or I am at loss? How much cost more that I need to complete this project? So, if we dig deep into the project part, you'll find that there are different areas that we will look at. The practice, which includes all the aspects from selling on the project, the knowledge part, which is about the RFIs and RFPs and how we respond to it, and co-authoring using the Office 365 capabilities, which is natively integrated with AX, the enterprise content and document management. So when you execute projects, you have a lot of content in terms of documents and agreements and paper sign. So we digitize those ones and store it as well on Office 365, on SharePoint, which is natively integrated with the AX service. You come as well about team workspaces. So project teams are created, and those are workspaces inside AX where I can have a dashboard where the team members of this project are only working on this. They get all information about the project, all the documents, all the materials, the procedures, and so on. This is apart from the normal system. So we will see when we go to AX about the workspace part. Then you have the professional and development, which is the HR component, which is around recruitment and competency and resources. And then we have the firm administration, which is the managing part, the budgeting, the vendors, the financial aspect of it, and of course the service delivery. So those are the different components of the solution. So AX, the new AX, with this kind of scale of and magnitude of functionality and the technology behind it, it helps organizations to increase the speed of doing business. So today, if you want to go and you execute a new project, you don't have, you can minimize very much the time that you use for site preparation. Okay? You don't have to worry about the IT. Your system is mobile with you as you move. All what you need to do is to have an accessibility to an internet. So, in the morning we talked about this one, but let me talk about a couple of the areas on the front end. So we talked about the mobility of the devices. I would rather spend more time now on the integration platform, because when you are in a project business, I presume that you are running certain kind of systems. It could be a design system like an AutoCAD or something like this. It could be a project management system like Primavera and some sort of those kind of applications. So we provide an integration platform with an AX service that allows you to integrate to on-premise applications or applications hosted on data centers, whether those data centers are Microsoft data centers or even Amazon data centers. What's important as well, the big data, which is all this data that we are capturing throughout the project. We are using this data along with machine learning to allow us to generate for us lessons learned. Where I am spending most of my time, where I'm spending most of my cost, and what I can do differently using the analogy between the different projects that I can drive improvements. So we use machine learning and big data to arrive on this. IoT, I gave the example about the cars or the ready mix or even the sites. In-memory computing, and this is similar to what HANA is providing, which is leveraging the capabilities of SQL 2012 and SQL of Azure that's running to provide in-memory computing, which is the faster response. By the way, the demo that I'm showing you today, it's running out of our data center in Ireland. And you will not notice, and you will think that this is running out of the next room, actually, or I have a server down there. Power BI, very important. Self-service BI and business apps for Power Apps, what we call it, embedded inside AX. So today when you buy AX, you don't have to think about, again, what kind of BI tool that I will use. It comes by default. And you can add more of that. So let us go and have a quick look on the product and the project, how it's working. So can we shift the screen, please? So I presume you have seen this in the morning. So all of you were attending in the morning when Sema did the demo? Okay. So this is the new look and feel of AX. So we introduced this new concept here of what we call workspaces. So if you were an AX customer before, okay, you are familiar or you're used to what we call role centers. So workspace is the evolution of the role centers. So this is our strategy of moving forward of, I would say, breaking down the application into different workloads. So let us say that today you are an organization, you come and you say, I need to run only my finance on-prem, while I need to run all my projects and the associated supporting processes on the cloud. Why? Because I need the mobility of my solution. I don't need to have issues for users of accessibility. So that's the first part of it. This is phase one of it, which is the breakdown of the components into workspaces. And workspace is like a full process which talks to different modules inside the application, collected together in one place. So if I scroll down here and I go to the project management, I will find here the project management workspace. And when I come to the project management, I will see here this concept of how many projects are in planning phase, how many project templates do I have, and the listing of the all projects. And here, the listing of all the projects that I'm working on and the status of each of those projects. And similarly on the right side, additional activities that I can perform. So let us say that I come here and I say, I want to go to this first project. And I come here to the project, I see all the details about the general project, the scheduling for the project hierarchies, budgeting, financial dimensions, agreements, so all the details about the project. And on the right side, what we call the fact boxes about this project. So how much is my actual cost till now? How much is the expense, how much is the material, and how much is the total cost? What is the cash inflow and the cash outflow and the net cash flow that I have from this particular project? And similarly, on the invoicing side, on the resource scheduling. So those are quick snapshots that you can trigger from each project to give you the quick insights on the project. So ideally, when you start the project, and I will skip the area of selling a project to a customer. So let us say that we are awarded the project. So the first part starts by the planning side. So when we look at the project, the first part, which is the work breakdown structure, okay? And when I define the work breakdown structure, so this is in line with whatever today you are getting with MS Project. So today, with the introduction of a project online, part of the Office 365, you have a native integration between AX and the Office 365, which is showing here. So if I'm running Office 365 and I click here, I can move all this data and work on it on the MS Project online. So when I look here, you'll find the different type of steps that I'm working on. This is the same way of how you are building a work breakdown structure on project server. What are the kind of categories? What are the predecessors and whether this activity is a sequential or it requires a prior activity to be completed? What is the effort required, start dates and so on, and then the durations and the number of resources required for resource balancing, and what kind of roles that I require for this, and what is my scheduling status. On top here, you will see as well that you can have automation in the form of how you can do scheduling. Okay, so you can do an auto scheduling. You can go and you see what are the errors coming from the scheduling. So let us say that I need to require a particular resource for a particular activity, and this resource is engaged in another project. The system will tell me that this line, it is conflicting, and you require to adjust either the dates, and this will automatically reflect on the possible dates of delivery of the project. So once you have the work breakdown structure, you can look as well at what we call an estimated cost and revenue. So based on the type of resources that I'm putting, the system will generate for me what is the estimated costs and revenue resulting from this kind of resource allocation that I'm putting there, if I define this already. Now let us go back and look at on the top. So on the top, once I publish a work breakdown structure, this is a freezing of the planning a hard coding of the resources that I need for a particular project. At any point of time, I can make new drafts and I publish, so I can maintain multiple versions of the work breakdown structure with different assumptions of resources and dates and so on. And at any point of time, I have to have one of those as the final published one. So let me come back. And I come and I look at how I'm going to continue planning. So based on the work breakdown structure, I can define different item requirements and item forecasts and so on. And this goes and tells me what kind of raw material do I require, if I have particular machines that I'm using, when I will use those machines. So I arrive at what I call my capacity planning. And then I have the part about managing, okay, the invoicing, the project, the billing, and so on. And what's more important, which is around the control. How do I control this project? And this is part of the business insight that we are looking for. So the first part that here, I can generate what we call a project statement, a cash flow statement about this particular project, and all this is online information. Or I can look at what we call invoice control, what are the invoices that we are supposed to generate and what's spending from generating those invoices, and the cost control. So let me look at the cost control aspect. So here I can look at different ways of generating the cost control based on some templates inside the system. So I say calculate, and the system will go and generate for me the cost control template based on the design that I have defined inside the system. So it tells me what is the labor consumption, what are the expenses, what are the items that I have used, how much is the actual cost for now, how much is the remaining and the total cost. And again, if there is any deviation from the budget, the system will suggest it for me here and tell me what is the kind of deviation that I have. Any deviations inside the project are subject, of course, to the workflow engine, that it has to go through approvals to go over budget, and so on. Again, on the control part, you can track utilization and resource utilization, and you can look here at resource-wise across multiple projects or by project and different kind of views. And what's important as well is what we call the retention aspect. So sometimes when you do projects, customers do retentions of some of the revenue from the invoices. And sometimes you do it as well on your suppliers or vendors that you are using for outsourcing. So the capabilities of pay when paid, okay, which is back-to-back payments to your vendors based on your collections from customers is handled through the system. And of course, customer retentions and so on. So, for employees, I believe we covered this in the morning, but let me quickly go to the self-service. So, as a manager in the site, I can come and see what are the kind of resources that I have that are managing to me, okay? And I can look at their positions and get quick snap information about their positions and their year of experience and so on. And seniority and experience, and I can dig into details and see which projects that they are working on. So can we shift please to the presentation? So I believe Chandru showed this in the earlier slide. So it's not only about AX, it's about AX being in the core now of Microsoft, and all the other technologies Microsoft is offering is in the center and the core of this. Whether this is devices, whether this is collaboration tools, whether this is big data, whether this is IoT, data centers, and so on. And even new things that we can think of about other technologies like HoloLens, and you can magnify this, so you can use the HoloLens, for example, in the design of the building, looking at how the building will do. So this is part of the customer experience that we are looking for. So it's not only about my execution, it's about the whole experience that I'm delivering to my customers. So again, I would like to summarize about what customers are saying. So the beauty of Dynamics AX is that it will help you make better informed decisions faster, ultimately increase your business potential and take our business operations to the next level. This is the CEO of the Lotus team. They are into the project business as well, although they are in the sports industry, in the racing. But those guys, they manufacture 14 cars every year. Actually 14 times 2 because they have 2 drivers. So every month they manufacture a car, and this car is a project by itself. The design of the car, the design of the engine, and so on. And it has connection to 37,000 sensors that we are collecting the data and feeding this to the product design when they are executing the project. So having said this, I would like to thank you, and I'm open for any kind of questions that you have. And if you want to try AX, please reach out to any of our partners outside. We can provision an environment for you for in a couple of hours, and you can go and start testing how AX is working. Thank you very much.